Brazilian diamonds shone so brightly they outshined even Portugal's sun. 18th century popular proverb. In the annals of global economic history, few discoveries have had such a profound impact on European commerce as the unearthing of diamonds in Brazil. The story begins on a fateful morning in 1729, along the banks of the Jequitinhonha River in Minas Gerais, when a prospector's discovery would forever alter the world's economic balance. Prior to this momentous discovery, India had maintained a centuries-old monopoly on the global diamond trade. European merchants, particularly those in Amsterdam, had grown accustomed to the established trade routes and pricing structures that had governed the diamond market for generations. The discovery of Brazilian diamonds would shatter this status quo with remarkable consequences. The initial response to the discovery was one of disbelief and attempted secrecy. Portuguese authorities, recognizing the magnitude of their colony's discovery, initially tried to conceal the finding from their European counterparts. However, as news spread and Brazilian diamonds began flowing into European markets, panic ensued among traditional diamond merchants. Prices plummeted by as much as 75%, sending shockwaves through the established trading networks. In response to this newfound wealth, Portugal established the Diamond District, a unique administrative region centered around Arraial do Tijuco, modern-day Diamantina. This area operated under strict royal control, with rigorous entry and exit regulations. The Portuguese crown implemented a system of contractors, or contratadores, who were granted exclusive rights to mine and trade diamonds. Among these, João Fernandes de Oliveira emerged as a particularly influential figure. The emergence of Brazilian diamonds democratized access to these precious stones across Europe. Previously a luxury reserved for royalty and the highest nobility, diamonds became increasingly available to the growing merchant class. This shift in accessibility transformed European consumption patterns and social dynamics. Amsterdam and London emerged as the primary beneficiaries of this new diamond trade. Sephardic Jewish merchants, with their established networks and expertise, played a crucial role in developing new cutting techniques and trading routes. These cities witnessed the rise of new fortunes and the establishment of powerful trading houses that would influence European commerce for generations. The human cost of this wealth was substantial. The diamond mining operations relied heavily on enslaved labor, with workers enduring harsh conditions in their search for precious stones. Despite strict controls, stories of smuggling and resistance became part of the region's folklore, adding a layer of drama to the economic narrative. The impact of Brazilian diamonds extended far beyond mere commerce. The trade fostered the development of new financial centers, revolutionized luxury markets, and reshaped colonial relationships. Portuguese maritime routes were altered to accommodate this precious cargo, while European fashions and social customs evolved in response to the increased availability of diamonds. The legacy of this period continues to influence the modern diamond industry. The techniques developed for evaluating and cutting Brazilian stones laid the foundation for contemporary practices. The trading networks established during this era evolved into today's global diamond market, while the cultural and architectural heritage of Brazil's Diamond District stands as a testament to this remarkable period. In historical perspective, the discovery of Brazilian diamonds represents more than just an economic watershed moment. It exemplifies how a single discovery can trigger a cascade of changes affecting global trade, social structures, and cultural practices. The story of Brazilian diamonds illuminates the complex interplay between colonialism, global commerce, and economic development, offering valuable insights into the forces that shaped our modern world. This historical episode serves as a compelling reminder of how natural resources can reshape international power dynamics and transform societies. The brilliance of Brazilian diamonds not only illuminated European courts, but also cast long shadows over the complex relationships between colonies and their metropoles, between wealth and exploitation, and between commerce and human cost. On a misty morning in 1729, along the serpentine banks of the Jequitinhonha River in Minas Gerais, Brazil, history took an unexpected turn. A prospector, whose name has been lost to time, noticed an unusual glimmer in the river's gravelly bed. What he held in his weathered hands was more than just another precious stone. It was the first documented Brazilian diamond, a discovery that would revolutionize the global economic landscape. For centuries before this momentous finding, India had maintained an ironclad monopoly over the world's diamond trade. From the fabled mines of Golconda to the bustling markets of Europe, Indian diamonds had reigned supreme, commanding extraordinary prices and shaping the very notion of luxury. The European elite had grown accustomed to paying premium prices for these Eastern gems, while Indian merchants carefully controlled supply to maintain their privileged position. The discovery in Jequitinhonha was initially met with skepticism. Portuguese colonial officials, once convinced of the stone's authenticity, quickly realized the magnitude of what lay before them. Here was a discovery that could challenge India's supremacy and potentially shift the center of the diamond trade westward. The implications were staggering, not just for Portugal and its colony, but for the entire global economic order. As news of the discovery spread, it sent ripples through European financial centers. The established trading houses of Amsterdam, London, and Paris, which had built their fortunes on the Indian diamond trade, watched with a mixture of concern and opportunity as reports confirmed the quality and quantity of Brazilian stones. The Portuguese crown, understanding the significance of this discovery, moved swiftly to establish control over what would soon become one of the world's most important diamond-producing regions. This single discovery marked the beginning of Brazil's entry into the global diamond market, effectively ending India's monopoly that had persisted since ancient times. The impact was immediate and far-reaching. Diamond prices in European markets began to fluctuate as Brazilian stones entered the market in increasing numbers. The once exclusive commodity began to become more accessible to a broader segment of European society, though still remaining a luxury item. The morning of that discovery in 1729 represented more than just the finding of a precious stone. It marked the beginning of a new chapter in economic history. The Brazilian diamond fields would go on to produce some of the world's most famous diamonds, establish new trading routes, create immense fortunes, and reshape the economic relationship between Europe and its colonies. This watershed moment would transform not only the diamond trade, but also the social fabric of colonial Brazil and European society. It would lead to the establishment of the diamond district, the development of new mining techniques, and the creation of strict regulatory systems that would influence mining administration for centuries to come. The discovery would also spark a diamond rush that would bring thousands of prospectors to the region, fundamentally altering the demographic and social landscape of colonial Brazil. The first Brazilian diamond thus serves as a symbol of how a single discovery can alter the course of global economic history. It marked the end of one era and the beginning of another, shifting power dynamics, creating new wealth, and establishing new patterns of trade that would persist well into the modern era. This discovery would prove to be not just a pivotal moment in Brazilian colonial history, but a transformative event that would reshape the global luxury trade and European economic power for generations to come. The year 1729 marked a pivotal moment in world history, as Europe stood on the brink of unprecedented change. England was witnessing the early stirrings of what would become the Industrial Revolution. In the textile towns of Manchester and Leeds, innovative manufacturing processes were beginning to emerge, while steam power was just starting to reveal its transformative potential. This technological awakening would soon reshape the continent's economic landscape. Mercantilism dominated European economic thinking, with nations vigorously pursuing policies designed to accumulate wealth through strictly controlled trade. This economic doctrine emphasized the accumulation of precious metals, positive trade balances, and colonial exploitation. European powers viewed their colonies not merely as territories, but as crucial components of their economic machinery, designed to enrich the motherland. The competition among colonial powers had reached a fever pitch. England, France, Spain, Portugal, and the Dutch Republic engaged in a complex dance of alliances and rivalries, each seeking to expand their colonial holdings and protect their trade routes. Naval power became increasingly crucial, as these nations sought to protect their merchant fleets and maintain control over vital shipping lanes. Amsterdam held a special position in this global network as the world's premier diamond trading center. The city's sophisticated financial institutions, established trading networks, and skilled diamond cutters had made it the undisputed capital of the diamond trade. Sephardic Jewish merchants, with their extensive international connections, played a crucial role in maintaining Amsterdam's preeminence in this lucrative market. Meanwhile, colonial Brazil was experiencing its own remarkable transformation. The discovery of gold in Minas Gerais during the late 17th century had already shifted the colony's economic center from the coastal sugar plantations to the inland mining regions. Gold mining had become the driving force of the colonial economy, attracting thousands of Portuguese immigrants and reshaping the colony's demographic landscape. The colonial society was strictly hierarchical, with clear divisions between social classes. At the top stood the Portuguese-born administrators and wealthy merchants, followed by Brazilian-born whites, criollos, mixed-race individuals, pardos, free blacks, and at the bottom, the enslaved population who provided the backbone of the colonial labor force. This social stratification was reinforced by legal, economic, and social practices that maintained rigid boundaries between these groups. The slavery system was fundamental to Brazil's colonial economy. Enslaved Africans were brought in increasing numbers to work in the mines, creating a demographic shift that would have lasting implications for Brazilian society. The harsh conditions in the mining regions led to high mortality rates, requiring a constant influx of new workers through the transatlantic slave trade. The hereditary captaincy system, capitanias hereditarias, though less relevant than in the early colonial period, still influenced administrative structures. These territorial divisions, originally created to facilitate colonization, had evolved into administrative units under stronger central control from Portugal. The discovery of gold had led to increased royal oversight, particularly in the mining regions. Portuguese control over trade was absolute and methodically enforced. The Crown maintained strict regulations over commercial activities, requiring all trade to pass through Portuguese ports. This system, known as the Colonial Pact, ensured that Portugal maintained its monopoly over Brazil's valuable exports and controlled the flow of imported goods into the colony. Security measures were particularly stringent in the gold mining regions. The Portuguese Crown established special administrative structures, including the Intendancy of Mines, to oversee mining activities and prevent smuggling. Regular patrols, checkpoints, and severe punishments for smugglers demonstrated Portugal's determination to maintain control over its colonial wealth. This rigid economic and social framework would soon face new challenges with the discovery of diamonds. The existing administrative structures would need to adapt to control this new source of wealth, leading to the creation of even more stringent oversight mechanisms. The discovery would test Portugal's ability to maintain its monopolistic control while managing a resource that was even more valuable and easier to smuggle than gold. This complex global scenario in 1729 provided the backdrop for the momentous discovery of diamonds in Brazil. The established power structures, both in Europe and colonial Brazil, would soon need to adapt to this new reality, leading to significant changes in the global economic order and colonial administration. What began as another ordinary day in the gold fields of Minas Gerais would become a watershed moment in global economic history. While panning for gold in the crystalline waters of the Jequitinhonha River, prospectors stumbled upon unusual transparent stones mixed with their golden findings. Initially dismissed as mere crystals, these stones would soon be identified as diamonds of exceptional quality, setting off a chain of events that would reshape the global diamond trade. The first significant discoveries occurred in Arraial do Tijuco, a modest settlement that would later become the city of Diamantina. The region's unique geological formation, created millions of years ago through volcanic activity and erosion, had produced perfect conditions for diamond formation. The initial finds were so abundant that local settlers reportedly used diamonds as markers in card games, unaware of their true value. As word of the discovery spread, the Portuguese crown moved swiftly to establish control. The creation of the Diamond District, Distrito Diamantino, represented an unprecedented administrative experiment. This designated territory, centered around Arraial do Tijuco, became subject to unique laws and regulations that would make it one of the most tightly controlled regions in the colonial world. The royal control system implemented in the Diamond District was remarkable in its scope and severity. Access to the region was strictly regulated, with special permits required for entry and exit. The Crown established a complex bureaucracy to oversee every aspect of diamond extraction and trade. Guards posted at strategic points maintained constant surveillance, while a network of informants helped authorities track any suspicious activities. The Portuguese authorities' first reaction was to attempt to keep the discovery secret, fearing that news of Brazilian diamonds would destabilize the global market. This effort at secrecy proved futile, as information leaked through various channels, including Dutch traders who had connections in both Brazil and India. When news finally reached European diamond markets, particularly Amsterdam, the impact was immediate and dramatic. The established diamond trade, which had operated on the assumption of Indian dominance for centuries, was thrown into chaos. Prices began to plummet as traders anticipated an influx of Brazilian stones. The market value of diamonds dropped by as much as 75% in some categories, creating panic among merchants who held large inventories of Indian diamonds. The Indian merchants' reaction was a mixture of disbelief and strategic maneuvering. The powerful diamond traders of Golconda and other Indian centers initially attempted to discredit Brazilian diamonds, spreading rumors about their inferior quality. When this proved ineffective, they began to adjust their pricing and trading strategies to compete with the new source of stones. The market transformation was further complicated by the quality of Brazilian diamonds, which often exceeded that of their Indian counterparts. The Brazilian stones were noted for their exceptional clarity and color, challenging the long-held belief that Indian diamonds were superior. This quality factor would prove crucial in establishing Brazil's position in the global diamond trade. Portuguese authorities quickly developed a sophisticated system to classify and value the diamonds. Expert evaluators were brought from Europe to grade the stones, and strict protocols were established for their handling and transportation. The Crown maintained detailed records of every diamond discovered, creating an unprecedented level of documentation in the diamond trade. The social impact within the diamond district was equally dramatic. The region saw a rapid influx of prospectors, merchants, and administrators, transforming Arraial do Tijuco from a small settlement into a bustling colonial center. The strict controls on diamond mining led to the development of a unique social structure, where wealth and power were closely tied to mining rights and royal favors. The discovery also led to significant technological innovations in mining techniques. The Portuguese adapted and improved upon existing methods for alluvial diamond mining, developing new tools and processes that would influence mining practices for generations. The need to extract diamonds from riverbeds and hillsides led to sophisticated water management systems and mining techniques that were advanced for their time. This period of initial discovery and impact set the stage for Brazil's emergence as a major force in the global diamond trade. The systems and structures established during this time would influence diamond mining and trading practices well into the future, while the economic repercussions would continue to reshape global trade patterns for centuries to come. The discovery of Brazilian diamonds marked not just an economic watershed, but a turning point in how precious resources were controlled, managed, and traded in the colonial world. The Portuguese response to the diamond discovery was to create one of the most sophisticated and rigidly controlled administrative systems in colonial history. The Diamond District, established in 1734, represented a state within a state, a unique administrative region with its own laws, regulations, and governance structure separate from the rest of colonial Brazil. The boundaries of the Diamond District were precisely demarcated, covering approximately 150 square kilometers around Arraial do Tijuco. Within these borders, the Portuguese crown exercised unprecedented control over every aspect of life and commerce. The region operated under a special legal code known as the Diamond Regiment, which established strict regulations governing not only mining activities, but also daily life. Entry and exit regulations were extraordinarily strict. Anyone wishing to enter the district needed a special permit called a entrada, which detailed the purpose and duration of their visit. These permits were difficult to obtain and required extensive background checks and guarantees. Residents of the district carried identification documents that had to be presented at numerous checkpoints throughout the region. Those caught without proper documentation faced severe penalties, including exile or imprisonment. The surveillance system was comprehensive and multi-layered. Military patrols regularly swept the region, while a network of informants provided intelligence about illegal activities. Watchtowers were strategically placed along key routes, and guards maintained constant vigilance over mining areas. The Portuguese authorities also employed a system of surprise inspections and regular audits to prevent diamond theft and smuggling. At the heart of the administrative structure was the contractor system, with João Fernandes de Oliveira emerging as its most prominent figure. The system operated through a series of contracts, contratos, awarded by the Portuguese crown to private individuals or consortiums who gained exclusive rights to extract diamonds within the district. João Fernandes de Oliveira's tenure as contractor, 1749 to 1771, marked the golden age of diamond mining in Brazil. His administrative genius and business acumen transformed the contractor system. He introduced innovative mining techniques, improved workers' conditions, though still within the constraints of slavery, and established efficient management practices that significantly increased diamond production. The concession system was meticulously structured. Contractors paid substantial sums to the Crown for their mining rights and were required to meet specific production quotas. They were responsible for all operational costs, including slave labor, equipment, and security, while also ensuring that a predetermined percentage of diamonds was delivered to the royal treasury. Mining methods evolved under the contractor system. The contractors introduced more systematic approaches to prospecting and extraction, including the construction of sophisticated water diversion systems and the development of new techniques for processing diamond-bearing gravels. These innovations significantly improved the efficiency of diamond recovery. Relations with the Portuguese crown were complex and often tense. Contractors walked a fine line between maximizing their profits and satisfying royal demands. They were required to maintain detailed records of their operations and submit to regular inspections by crown officials. Any suspicion of fraud or underreporting could result in the immediate termination of their contract and severe legal consequences. The punishment system within the diamond district was notably severe. Smuggling or unauthorized diamond possession could result in confiscation of property, exile to Africa, or even death. The Crown established special courts to deal with diamond-related crimes, and trials were often swift and harsh. The financial administration was equally rigorous. All diamonds had to be registered and evaluated by Crown officials before being transported to Rio de Janeiro under heavy guard. From there, they were shipped to Lisbon in sealed containers on designated vessels. A sophisticated system of documentation tracked each stone from discovery to final sale. This administrative machine had profound social implications. It created a unique society where wealth and status were directly linked to one's position within the diamond administration. The system also generated a complex underground economy, as people sought ways to circumvent the strict controls. The efficiency of this administrative system was remarkable for its time. Despite its rigid nature, it successfully controlled diamond production and trade for over a century. Many of its administrative innovations, particularly in resource management and security, would influence colonial administration practices throughout the Portuguese Empire. The Portuguese administrative machine in the Diamond District represented one of the most successful attempts at resource control in colonial history. Its influence extended beyond the colonial period, establishing principles of mineral resource management that would influence Brazilian mining administration well into the modern era. The system's emphasis on documentation and control also created an invaluable historical record, providing detailed insights into colonial administration and diamond mining practices. This sophisticated administrative structure demonstrated Portugal's determination to maintain absolute control over its diamond wealth, while also revealing the extraordinary lengths colonial powers would go to protect valuable resources. The system's success in controlling diamond production and trade significantly influenced the global diamond market and set standards for resource management that would last for generations. The discovery of Brazilian diamonds fundamentally transformed European commerce in ways that would reshape the continent's economic and social landscape. The most immediate and dramatic impact was the shattering of India's centuries-old diamond monopoly. Prior to Brazil's emergence as a diamond source, India had maintained exclusive control over the global diamond trade for over 2 millennia, dictating prices and controlling supply with an iron grip. When Brazilian diamonds began flooding European markets in the 1730s, the established order crumbled rapidly. Indian merchants, who had long enjoyed their privileged position, found themselves competing with a new source of high-quality stones. The price of diamonds plummeted by as much as 75% in some categories, creating unprecedented access to these precious gems for a broader segment of European society. New players emerged in the diamond trade, breaking the traditional stranglehold of established Indian trading houses. Portuguese merchants, previously minor players in the diamond trade, suddenly found themselves at the center of a lucrative new market. Dutch, English, and French traders quickly adapted their operations to accommodate the influx of Brazilian stones, establishing new trading networks and developing innovative business models. The democratization of diamond access marked a significant social transformation in European society. Previously, diamonds had been the exclusive domain of royalty and the highest nobility. With the increased supply and lower prices brought by Brazilian diamonds, the emerging merchant class and lower nobility could now afford these precious stones. This shift in accessibility led to new patterns of consumption, and changes in social signaling through jewelry and adornment. In Amsterdam and London, the impact was particularly profound. These cities emerged as the primary beneficiaries of the new diamond trade, with Amsterdam reinforcing its position as the world's premier diamond-cutting center. The Sephardic Jewish community, with its extensive international networks and generations of expertise in diamond trading, played a crucial role in this transformation. The Sephardic merchants brought sophisticated trading practices and established vital connections between Brazil, Portugal, and other European markets. Their expertise in diamond evaluation and trading became invaluable as the market adjusted to the new reality of Brazilian diamonds. These merchants developed complex financial instruments and trading mechanisms that would influence commercial practices for centuries to come. New cutting techniques emerged in response to the unique characteristics of Brazilian diamonds. Amsterdam's skilled craftsmen developed innovative methods to maximize the brilliance and value of Brazilian stones, which often displayed different crystalline structures from their Indian counterparts. These technological advances further cemented Amsterdam's position as the world's leading diamond-cutting center. Specific trading routes were established to handle the flow of Brazilian diamonds. Ships carrying these precious cargoes followed carefully planned routes, with enhanced security measures and sophisticated insurance arrangements. The Portuguese crown established dedicated shipping lanes, with armed escorts protecting the valuable shipments from pirates and rival colonial powers. The trade generated unprecedented wealth, creating new fortunes and reshaping the European financial landscape. Trading houses specializing in Brazilian diamonds emerged as powerful economic forces. Families like the Rothschilds enhanced their wealth and influence through strategic involvement in the diamond trade, while new dynasties of diamond merchants arose from the opportunities presented by Brazilian stones. London's role as a financial center was strengthened by the Brazilian diamond trade. The city's sophisticated banking system and maritime insurance markets proved crucial in facilitating the new trading patterns. English merchants developed innovative financing methods to support the trade, including new forms of credit and partnership arrangements. The transformation of European consumption patterns was remarkable. As diamonds became more accessible, new fashion trends emerged. The middle classes began incorporating diamonds into their jewelry, albeit in smaller sizes and simpler settings than those favored by the nobility. This democratization of diamond ownership influenced everything from wedding customs to social etiquette. The impact of this market revolution extended beyond mere commerce. It influenced artistic expression, with new jewelry designs reflecting the increased availability of diamonds. Literature and social commentary of the period noted the changing patterns of consumption and the social implications of wider access to these previously exclusive gems. The Brazilian diamond trade thus became not just an economic phenomenon, but a catalyst for broader social and cultural change in European society. The human cost of Brazil's diamond wealth was profound and far-reaching. The backbone of the diamond mining operations was enslaved labor, with thousands of African men and women forced to work under brutal conditions in the riverbeds and mines of Minas Gerais. These workers faced daily challenges that went beyond mere physical hardship, enduring a complex system of surveillance and control designed to prevent diamond theft. The mining techniques employed were physically demanding and often dangerous. Enslaved workers would spend hours standing in cold water, bent over wooden pans called batias, carefully sifting through gravel and sediment. The work required exceptional skill and concentration, as the smallest mistake could mean missing a valuable stone. During the dry season, they would dig into riverbanks and hillsides, creating deep pits called katas to reach diamond-bearing gravels. The daily routine began before dawn and continued until sunset. Workers operated under the watchful eyes of overseers who employed brutal punishments for any perceived infractions. The Portuguese administration implemented a system of rewards and punishments, offering freedom to slaves who discovered particularly large stones while imposing severe penalties, including death for those caught stealing. Despite the rigid control system, stories of smuggling became legendary throughout the diamond district. Workers developed ingenious methods to conceal diamonds, from swallowing them to hiding them in wounds they deliberately kept open. Some would throw stones to accomplices outside the mining areas, while others created elaborate networks involving free workers and even some corrupt officials. Tales of resistance and rebellion punctuated the district's history. While large-scale revolts were rare due to the tight security, smaller acts of defiance were common. Workers would deliberately break larger diamonds to make them easier to conceal, participate in work slowdowns, or assist in underground networks that helped enslaved people escape. These acts of resistance became part of the region's oral history, passed down through generations. The discovery of diamonds led to the formation of a unique social elite in Arrayal do Tijuco, later known as Diamantina. This new aristocracy consisted of successful contractors, contratadors, merchants, and colonial administrators who amassed considerable wealth through the diamond trade. Among these, figures like João Fernandes de Oliveira and his son became legendary for their opulent lifestyles and influence over local affairs. The urban development of Diamantina reflected this accumulation of wealth and power. The town evolved from a simple mining settlement into a sophisticated urban center, with architecture that blended Portuguese colonial styles with local innovations. The wealthy built magnificent mansions featuring intricate woodwork, while churches were adorned with gold leaf and precious stones, creating a unique architectural heritage that survives to this day. The diamond trade's influence on regional culture was profound and lasting. A distinctive society emerged, characterized by a peculiar mix of European refinement and frontier resourcefulness. The elite families sent their children to study in Portugal, imported luxury goods from Europe, and hosted elaborate social gatherings that rivaled those of European courts. This created a unique cultural environment where Portuguese, African, and indigenous influences merged to create new forms of music, art, and social customs. The architectural legacy of this period remains one of Brazil's most important historical treasures. The historic center of Diamantina, now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, preserves the urban layout and architectural features of the diamond boom era. The buildings tell stories of wealth and power, but also of the skilled craftsmen, many of them enslaved, who created these architectural masterpieces. Religious life played a central role in diamond society, with the construction of numerous churches and chapels. These religious buildings served not only as places of worship, but also as displays of wealth and power. The Brotherhood of the Blessed Sacrament, composed of wealthy white merchants and administrators, competed with the Brotherhood of Our Lady of the Rosary, associated with the African population, in building and decorating their respective churches. The social dynamics of diamond society were complex and often contradictory. While the elite enjoyed unprecedented wealth and privilege, they lived in constant fear of royal displeasure and potential loss of their positions. The middle class, including skilled artisans and small merchants, developed their own social networks and cultural expressions, while free blacks and mixed-race individuals created parallel social structures through religious brotherhoods and professional associations. The legacy of this society extends far beyond the physical structures that remain. The cultural practices, social traditions, and artistic expressions that emerged during the Diamond Era continue to influence regional identity. The annual festivals, culinary traditions, and musical styles that developed during this period remain vital parts of Minas Gerais culture. This complex social tapestry also produced remarkable historical figures like Chica da Silva, a former enslaved woman who rose to become one of the most powerful and wealthy individuals in the Diamond District. Her story exemplifies the occasional fluidity of colonial society, while also highlighting its fundamental inequalities and contradictions. The human story of Brazil's diamond trade is thus one of stark contrasts: extraordinary wealth alongside crushing poverty, rigid control systems confronting constant resistance, and European refinement mixing with African and indigenous influences to create something entirely new. This legacy continues to shape the region's identity and serves as a powerful reminder of the human cost of colonial wealth. The discovery of Brazilian diamonds catalyzed profound changes in European luxury markets and global trade patterns. The influx of Brazilian stones transformed the European luxury market, creating new standards of opulence and reshaping consumer behavior. Fine jewelry became more accessible to the growing middle class, while the aristocracy responded by demanding even more elaborate and expensive pieces to maintain their social distinction. The development of new trade routes revolutionized maritime commerce. Portuguese ships carrying diamonds followed carefully planned routes, leading to the establishment of new ports and trading posts. These routes integrated with existing gold shipment paths, creating efficient networks that connected Brazil to European markets. The need for secure transportation led to innovations in maritime insurance and security protocols that would influence international shipping for centuries. New financial centers emerged to handle the complex transactions involved in the diamond trade. While Amsterdam maintained its position as the primary diamond cutting center, cities like London and Paris developed sophisticated financial instruments to facilitate trade. Banking houses specializing in diamond financing appeared, introducing novel credit mechanisms and investment opportunities that would help lay the groundwork for modern international finance. The impact on Portugal's trade balance was transformative. Diamond exports provided a significant source of revenue for the Portuguese crown, helping to offset the kingdom's chronic trade deficits with other European nations. However, this wealth also led to economic distortions, as Portugal became increasingly dependent on colonial resources rather than developing domestic industries. This phenomenon, later known as the resource curse, would have long-lasting implications for Portuguese economic development. The modern diamond industry bears the indelible mark of the Brazilian diamond era. Many of the grading systems and cutting techniques developed for Brazilian stones remain fundamental to contemporary diamond evaluation. The trading networks established during this period evolved into today's global diamond market, while the expertise developed in identifying and valuing stones continues to influence modern gemology. The historical and cultural heritage of the diamond trade is particularly evident in Brazil's diamond district. Diamantina, designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, preserves the architectural splendor of the colonial period. Its churches, mansions, and public buildings stand as testimonials to the wealth generated by the diamond trade. The city's urban layout and architectural style continue to influence regional planning and preservation efforts. Regional development patterns established during the diamond era persist in modern Minas Gerais. The infrastructure created to support the diamond trade, roads, bridges, and urban centers, formed the foundation for subsequent economic development. Historical mining communities have evolved into cultural and tourist destinations, contributing to regional economic diversification. Contemporary environmental issues trace their roots to colonial mining practices. The environmental impact of historical diamond mining continues to affect local ecosystems. River courses altered by mining activities, deforested areas, and sediment accumulation present ongoing challenges for environmental management. These historical lessons inform current debates about sustainable mining practices and environmental preservation. The diamond trade's legacy extends to modern social structures and cultural practices. The unique blend of Portuguese, African, and indigenous influences that characterize diamond society continues to shape regional identity. Traditional festivals, music, and culinary practices that emerged during the diamond era remain vital components of local culture. Educational and research institutions in the region maintain strong connections to the diamond heritage. Universities and technical schools offer specialized programs in geology, mining engineering, and gemology, building on centuries of accumulated knowledge. Research centers study both the historical aspects of the diamond trade and its contemporary implications. The legal and regulatory frameworks developed to control diamond mining influenced modern mining legislation. The concept of state control over mineral resources, first implemented in the Diamond District, continues to inform Brazilian mining law. International protocols for preventing trade in conflict diamonds draw lessons from historical attempts to control diamond smuggling. Tourism centered on diamond heritage has become a significant economic driver. Historical mining sites, museums, and cultural centers attract visitors interested in the region's unique history. This heritage tourism provides economic opportunities while helping to preserve historical knowledge and cultural traditions. The financial and commercial practices developed during the diamond era continue to influence modern business operations. The sophisticated trading networks, credit systems, and quality control measures established for the diamond trade provided models for other luxury goods markets. The importance of trust and reputation in diamond trading remains paramount in today's industry. Digital technology now allows virtual exploration of this historical heritage. Online databases and virtual museums preserve and share documents, images, and artifacts from the diamond era. These digital resources make this rich history accessible to researchers and interested parties worldwide. Conservation efforts focus on balancing historical preservation with modern development needs. Urban planners and preservationists work to maintain historical structures while accommodating contemporary requirements. This ongoing dialogue between past and present shapes the region's development strategies. The legacy of the Brazilian diamond trade thus remains dynamic and evolving. While preserving historical knowledge and cultural traditions, it continues to influence modern economic, social, and environmental practices. This living heritage demonstrates how historical events continue to shape contemporary realities, offering lessons for current challenges in resource management, economic development, and cultural preservation. The discovery of Brazilian diamonds stands as one of history's pivotal moments, fundamentally reshaping not just the precious stone trade, but the entire fabric of global commerce and colonial relations. This remarkable chapter in economic history provides a compelling lens through which we can examine the intricate interplay between natural resources, human ambition, and societal transformation. What makes the Brazilian diamond discovery particularly significant is how it upended established global power structures. Before Brazil's emergence as a diamond source, India's monopoly had created a rigid hierarchy in the precious stone trade. The sudden availability of high-quality Brazilian diamonds democratized access to these gems, triggering a cascade of social and economic changes that would reverberate through centuries. Counter-historical speculation offers intriguing perspectives on what might have been. Had Brazilian diamonds remained undiscovered, India's monopoly might have persisted well into the modern era, potentially altering the development of European luxury markets and colonial expansion patterns. Portugal's colonial trajectory might have taken a markedly different course, possibly weakening its position among European powers and changing the dynamics of South American colonization. The human and environmental costs of this wealth demand serious consideration. The exploitation of enslaved labor in diamond mining operations represented an immense human tragedy, the repercussions of which continue to influence social structures in modern Brazil. The environmental impact, though less immediately visible, was equally profound. Rivers were diverted, landscapes altered, and ecosystems disrupted in ways that continue to affect the region today. This historical episode provides crucial insights into contemporary global trade relations. The patterns of resource extraction, wealth concentration, and labor exploitation established during the diamond era find modern parallels in various industries. The way Portuguese authorities managed their diamond wealth offers lessons about resource management and economic diversification that remain relevant for resource-rich nations today. The legacy of Brazilian diamonds extends far beyond mere commerce. It shaped cultural exchanges, influenced architectural styles, and created unique social structures that blend European, African, and indigenous elements. The city of Diamantina stands as a living testament to this period, its streets and buildings telling stories of ambition, wealth, and human cost. Perhaps most significantly, this historical chapter illuminates the complex nature of progress and development. While the diamond trade brought unprecedented wealth and cultural sophistication to certain segments of society, it also perpetuated systems of inequality and exploitation. This duality continues to characterize many aspects of global resource extraction and trade. Looking forward, the lessons of the Brazilian diamond era remain pertinent to contemporary challenges. As the world grapples with questions of sustainable resource management, fair labor practices, and equitable economic development, the historical example of Brazilian diamonds offers valuable insights and cautionary tales. The environmental lessons are particularly relevant in today's context of climate change and ecological preservation. The long-term impacts of colonial-era mining practices demonstrate the importance of sustainable resource management and environmental stewardship. The social transformations triggered by the diamond trade remind us how natural resource discoveries can reshape societies in profound and lasting ways. The emergence of new social classes, the transformation of cultural practices, and the development of unique regional identities all find parallels in modern resource-driven economic developments. In terms of global trade relations, the Brazilian diamond era demonstrates how natural resource discoveries can shift the balance of international power and transform established commercial networks. This understanding remains relevant as nations navigate the complexities of modern global trade and resource management. The story of Brazilian diamonds ultimately serves as a powerful reminder of how natural resources can reshape international power dynamics and transform societies. It illustrates both the potential for economic development and the risks of resource-dependent economies. Most importantly, it underscores the enduring impact that resource discoveries can have on human societies and the natural environment. This historical episode continues to offer valuable lessons for contemporary challenges in global trade, resource management, and sustainable development. As we face modern challenges of resource extraction, labor rights, and environmental preservation, The complex legacy of Brazilian diamonds provides both warnings and wisdom for navigating these issues in our own time. In the final analysis, the Brazilian diamond trade represents more than just an economic phenomenon. It embodies the complex interplay between natural resources, human society, and global commerce that continues to shape our world today. Its legacy serves as both a testament to human ingenuity and a reminder of the costs of unchecked resource exploitation, offering valuable lessons for future generations.